As a quick precursor to this episode, I would love to invite you to attend the autumn edition of my in-person event, Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena, which will be held on Friday the 8th of November in Barnes, southwest London. It's a 5-minute walk from Barnes Station, and there's also a free car parking place on site. So it's the best of both worlds. We will be preparing and planning for your best ever 2025, and you will leave with that vision and strategy for your next 12 months with a newfound sense of connection and focus. We will be harvesting your present and planting the seeds for a profitable and joyful 2025, allowing your business goals to bloom with ease. I'm very excited to be bringing the warmth of the season and all of those beautiful colours and everything we can learn from shedding what no longer serves us and preparing for spring. Embrace the seasons of change and join me on 8th of November to Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena. Do not worry if you don't know anyone. I will ensure that you feel welcome from the moment you arrive until the moment you leave. I cannot wait to see you there, and grab the link now in the show notes. Hello and welcome to Women in the Coaching Arena podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jo Lott, a business mentor and ICF accredited coach, and I help coaches to build brilliant businesses. I know that when you prepare to enter the arena, there is fear, self-doubt, comparison, anxiety, uncertainty. You can tend to armour up and protect yourself from vulnerability. In this podcast, I'll be sharing honest, not hype, practical and emotional tools to support you to make the difference that you're here for. Dare greatly, you belong in this arena. Hello, welcome to the Women in the Coaching Arena podcast. I am so glad you are here. I've just done my last Business of Coaching group call before the summer because I work term time only. So I'll have 6 weeks off to really connect in, do big picture thinking. I'm intending to do a lot of creation and changes to my business over the summer, and it's really lovely to get the space to do that because it's that sort of thing that you just can't do in between calls and in between replying to messages and all the things that we all balance on a daily basis. So on the call, we wrote a letter to our former self. So we often write a letter to our future self, but we very rarely write a letter to our former self about all that we have learned along the way. I invited my clients to write their own letter, think about all that they've learned on this journey so far, and it also invited them to share their letter to me on this podcast if they would like to. So I will see if anyone does it. But my main way of mentoring is to practice what I preach, to really walk the walk. So despite the fact I ended the call saying, I really don't want to read my letter to my former self and publish it, I thought I would step up and do exactly that. So here is my letter to 23-year-old Joanna. Dear Joanna, you have no idea that you will become more than you ever thought possible. You will go on a journey that pushes every limit you currently have in place. They are all of your own making, and you can truly push against these imaginary boundaries. You will speak up and be loved by others for who you are, for your realness and vulnerability. You don't need to worry about going red. Soon, that won't be a thing for you anymore. You will be so deeply connected and tuned into others that you will have no time or concern to be self-conscious. You will realize that everyone needs support. No one has it sussed. They are just the same as you. You will learn that we all carry trauma, whether that's through generations or small incidents that we place meaning on which aren't necessarily true. You will learn that you have a unique purpose and people need to hear your voice and your way of sharing. You will learn that those strengths that you currently see in your Strengths Finder assessment or that your boss tells you in your performance development review that you refuse to believe are true are actually true. You have an ability to connect with people quickly and to feel their feelings. This isn't always a good thing, as you feel too much for others and you can't run around the track for them, no matter how hard you try. I want to assure you that you will find your own path and that it's all a journey where one step will lead to the next. But you must keep being courageous and keep taking those steps. To draw a line in the sand when you realise old stories are no longer true for you, when they are something that you need to leave behind to move to your next evolution. That you are here for big things and you cannot do those things while you undervalue yourself and your ideas. That your voice is worth listening to, that you matter, that you can make a difference to others, no matter how sorted you think that they are, because they need you to raise your voice to make a difference. That is my letter to myself as at 16th of July 2024. So as I look back, that was written to when I was around 23 and I had coaching for the first time, and I filled in a strengths finder and all these different assessments because it was a career coaching thing I did at the time, and coach came out as my top job. And then I obviously thought, well, that's ridiculous. So I moved down to job number 2, which was teacher, which again, I just didn't have the confidence for. So I laid low, working in an office for far too long, even though my entire aim in life was always not to work in an office. Now I've learned never say not or I don't want to, because you will attract those things. So really focus on the positive of what you do want rather than what you don't want. I think the main thing that came out for me in that letter, which someone shined a light on today in their letter, is that even though I understand that I pushed past so many limiting beliefs, that we all still have limiting beliefs that need pushing again and again. And imagine what your letter in 20 years' time will say to your current self. So that's a really poignant thing for me to remember, that there are still things that I'm carrying that no longer serve me. And I think my final takeaway from my letter was raise your voice to make a difference. So that is why I absolutely love you listening to this podcast. And it means so much to me to be able to share my ideas, which is something for most of my life I didn't feel able to do. And I always put other people's thoughts and ideas ahead of my own, and I would never have been the first to speak up. So that's been a good growth journey for me, also to ensure that I continue, because I have a big mission and I have a lot that I need to leave behind in order to really move to that next evolution and really, really raise my voice to make a difference in this industry. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to share your letter with me, I would love to hear it. So you can email me at joanna@joannalottcoaching.com. And I can't wait to hear it. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope it was helpful and you gained insights from my own letter to my former self. And I invite you to write your own letter. It was a really insightful exercise to make you feel grounded and to give you that fire and inspiration to continue on this entrepreneurship journey. So thank you for listening. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly and try.